Welcome. Thanks for being here. My name is Freddie. I'm the president of the Renewable Energy Network, and thank you so much for coming. Just to recognize a few people that helped me out, that are working with me. Thank you so much for all this, for making this possible, and the hub as well. And to our speakers, thanks for being here. So for you guys that are wondering what this is basically a career event focusing on solar energy. We're looking at kind of how to get into that career path and then what it will look like once you're in it. And so these speakers are well versed in that. And here's one more. Yes. Hey. Hi. Ready?
Thanks, RJ.
Yeah, it's great to see you. We're all from different renewable energy companies, and they'll be kind of sharing their insight.
Of energy to build solar powered houses. So it's going to be a really big project in at least 2 years long. If you're interested in helping out, I have sign up here with just write your name down, email, your graduation year, and college or major.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, I think to help these guys out, to kind of tailor what they talk about, it's going to be useful to go around the room and have you guys mention what you're interested in hearing and what you're studying as well. So, who wants to start with that? Alright, so as I said, I'm Freddie Hall. I'm a senior this year. I study economics and environmental studies, but something with data, analyzing something hopefully with an environmental cause. And renewable energies is a pretty sweet industry, and it seems like it's doing very well, so that's kind of what I'm hoping for.
Hey guys, my name is Jeff Reinbold. I'm a senior ENVS major. My focus is on demand side management and utility scale reduction of energy.
Katie, I'm a junior environmental engineering major. Really interested in renewable energy and water resources. Agriculture minor. I'm really interested in sustainable agriculture and also energy system transitions and water resources. So there's a lot of crossover between those two things.
My name is Brandon McLuhan. I'm a junior environmental science engineer with concentration in conservation biology. And my interest for a while has been land use and consulting therein, but I have taken kind of a passing interest in renewable energy and seen how change very close to each other. So I'm very excited to see what studying this field will bring.
I'm Forrest Whiting, current senior. I'm really interested in carbon-free energy sources as well.
I'm Matt Sanford. I'm a senior mechanical engineer, and I'm interested in energy and systems, and specifically the renewable side of energy systems.
I'm Anna. I'm a senior in environmental engineering with an interest in water resources and renewable energy.
My name is Brock Gideon. I'm a dual degree math and econ junior. I'm actually a fellow at Renewable Energy Vermont as well. I'm very interested in energy policy as well as working for a renewable energy business, particularly
environmental sciences major with minor in biology, and I'm excited to see where the field of renewable energy goes and hope to be a part of it.
I'm Adam Miller. I'm a first year environmental science major, minor in Spanish, and I'm interested in getting started with work experience this summer.
My name is Ryan Garrity. I'm a sophomore community development major and a green building minor, and I'm interested in net zero housing and basically getting off the grid, and also not being too reliant on the grid, specifically battery technology, making that more efficient.
My name is Anna Toll. I'm a junior electrical engineering major. I'm really interested in energy systems, specifically renewables, and integrating them into the grid.
My name is Mariah Perino. I'm currently a junior. I've been interested in renewable energies for a long time. I'm looking to go into green business consulting, and I'm currently writing my undergrad thesis pertaining to higher education.
I'm Kurt Keller. I'm a business major focusing in international management and environmental management with minors in applied design and environmental studies. And I'm a senior, and I'm interested in learning about different consumer insights and how to change people's perspectives, and really trying to find a career in marketing, different different renewable goods as well as energy efficiency measures.
Ryan Tack, I'm a senior mechanical engineer in the refinery business. I'm interested in any array of products that could create a self-sufficient house that could be completely powered off the grid. What I'm looking to get out of this is a little bit of insight into the industry and any network. So, I'm your man.
I already introduced myself a bit, but I'm very interested in renewable energy grid integration and renewable power systems.
I'm Mason. I'm a senior at Allegheny College. Here just to learn more about different possible career paths in the industry, and interested in investment in renewables, particularly in.
Great, I think that's everyone, right? Yeah? Okay. Well, on to you guys. Would you guys like to kick it off and start with who you are, the basics, and then maybe talk from there about how you got into your current job, starting maybe from college, or since it's a good starting point for us, right?
I run a small solar installation company based out of Lincoln, Vermont. I don't know if you guys know where Lincoln is. Small town. It's exciting. It's exciting to be in the same room with so many people who have the same interests. So, and it's a great thing to be interested in. That's for sure. The renewable energy business, it kind of fell into my lap. It's not something that I was really super excited about. I've been excited about it my whole life, but it wasn't really something that I even knew was a possibility to find a career in until after high school. In high school and really liked sports, so I went to college and I wanted to be a gym teacher. That was kind of my goal. After a year of college, I decided that I wasn't quite getting the education I wanted where I was, and found and learned that what I really wanted to do, to find a path. And so I worked with a couple of different companies. I ended up working for a solar hot water installation company, large solar hot water installation company. That was actually created by Country Home Products. Are you guys familiar with auras and stuff? And literally at the time that I started working there, they were creating a brand called Summer. And Summer is a solar hot water dealer of a product called Thermal Dynamics, and to help promote solar hot water in the state of Vermont and nationally as well. So that's how I got into renewable energy, and instantly I was just so excited about it. You know, all the customers were excited about what they were doing. I started out in installation. That's where I started out in. That's how I learned about solar hot water and solar thermal. And then I self-trained from there. A lot of online classes, did a lot of online courses and courses around here, technical colleges, and gained a lot of certifications, and became the project manager for the Vermont installation group eventually. So I did that for 4 or 5 years, and then the brand split away from the company just because it wasn't a good fit for Country Home Products. They do 2 different that they really wanted to try and give it a go. When they split off, when the 2 brands separated, I saw an opportunity to start my own installation company, and purchased the van and started my own business from there. So that's how I. We specialize in. It started out as a solar hot water business, and for the last 3 years running, I've installed more solar hot water in the state of Vermont than any other installation company. And then now we're kind of shifting gears a little. Efficiency company. So I do energy audit and heat pumps and energy efficient water heaters. Not just solar hot water, but it's kind of changing into an energy efficiency company. That's what I'm passionate about. It's fun to go into somebody's house and where all their energy's going. A lot of people don't even understand they have a boiler downstairs in the basement. It's just burning away, and they don't know that it's running inefficiently or not. So it's fun to teach them about where their energy's going. So that's what I do.
Thanks.
Really glad to hear that there's a wide range, it's business, it's marketing, it's engineering and stuff, environmental science, it's not just one or the other. And I'd say in the renewable energy space, if you're interested, there are jobs for people in every field. Creative arts, legal, business development industry, it's a big industry. It's growing because it makes economic sense, it's growing because it makes environmental sense, and it's growing because customers want it, people get it. You don't need to explain to people that solar is good. People kind of know already it's good. Now that's not to say that it's there for a reason. They used to get whale oil to get lighting, and then coal and oil were readily available. That made sense. That was a good way to get lighting, and a lot of businesses developed. Energy is about 10% of our economy, and so we've got a system that's there for a reason, but that's not a reason to just say, okay, well, that's not going to change. And what's happening now is renewable energy technologies. The technology is there, the environmental reasons are there, and then the social reasons are there too, to try to do something. Are closing down, okay? Solar companies are growing, all these things. This is a transition. So the transition provides a lot of opportunity for all of you, so it's great that you're here. So I went to school at Middlebury. I was interested in studying resources and political science, how people use resources and stuff. I was in the Peace Corps in Sierra Leone after Middlebury. And if you want to appreciate the value of water resources or electricity or any kind of infrastructure, go spend a couple years in places. Energy is a fundamental, it empowers good health, it empowers education, it empowers all these things. Basic services, lighting, water pumping, all these things, they're tied all together. We take it for granted. We don't actually pay that much for the value that we get from the energy we pay for. It's more. People in developing countries these days are willing to pay a lot more than we end up paying for energy because they don't have it. Okay, so after the Peace Corps, I knew because of through Middlebury and through other things, I had a very strong. After that, I worked for what was called the Fund for Renewable Energy and the Environment in DC for a while. I got an internship. I said, I'll do whatever you guys are doing, I'll do it. And I helped produce what eventually turned into the 7th generation, really horrible CFL lamps and little desktop solar things or whatever, but it was this idea that, okay, these are good. And this was a while ago. I'm a little bit older. So I've been doing this about 25 years. This is in the early mid 80s. And since Sierra Leone, I wanted to go to graduate school. There's a program at the University of Pennsylvania in appropriate technology and international development. It was tied to an energy management planning program. I went to graduate school. I'd been out of school for several years, but I went to graduate school, learned how to do computer modeling of energy, DSM planning. At that time, utilities were being required to do integrated resource plans, so look at energy supply and demand, at least have a plan on what they could do for efficiency. So I ended up doing graduate work at the University of Pennsylvania. I spent time in Nepal, developing countries, things that you could do in that realm, and how village resources, energy resources flow, and it was from everything from biomass to other alternatives. It turns out to be as much of a kind of social and anthropological problem sometimes as it is economics. For a number of years for a group called the Telus Institute in Boston, and then for the last 16 years now, I've been in Vermont. I work with Vermont Energy Investment Corporation. The EIC runs Efficiency Vermont primarily by designing and running incentive programs and advocating for the policy and the support mechanisms to grow the markets. I'm really excited that that's changing. Initially, working with Dave and others, we had a table, there weren't any systems at all. We were talking about connecting the first systems, interconnecting them with the grid and everything. And so working on the policies, working with the utilities, working with the policymakers, working with the businesses that we're trying to do this, working with the consumers to understand it. So I've done policy development, and then helped to run incentive programs. We've helped to run the incentive program in New Jersey for a number of years. So the first year, we had 6 applications in New Jersey, and similar type of stuff in Vermont, just a handful. Now, there are tens of thousands of systems out there, and the incentives, which is good. So then you turn to, we won't run out of work to do. But you guys, there's, believe me, we're not going to run out of work to do. So, the things that I'm interested in these days, Freddie asked to talk a little bit about how you spend your time on the phone and on the, I do a fair amount of writing. I enjoy writing, talking with people, and it's meetings, it's plannings, it's budgeting, it's doing, a lot of the times it's technical economic screening or planning, scenario development. What does it take if Vermont would get 20% of its electricity from solar within the next 10 years? Okay? So that's a big increase from where we are now. And that involves, people mentioned storage, that involves looking at the regional grid and infrastructure, what incentives would you need, what policies would you place, that type of thing. How would that change the electric vehicle market? If people really understand that they can use solar for heat pumps or for electric vehicles, David here for a long time has said to people, we're going to be using more electricity. And actually the efficiency of Vermont was just to reduce electric use. Strategic electrification in Vermont's economy is actually really important, and Vermont's a great place to be. Freddie asked us to talk a little bit about what it would be like outside of Vermont. Vermont's comprehensive energy plan goals are really significant. So if you want to go nationally, hopefully internationally, you're actually sitting in one of those places. There's a great industry here, Renewable Energy Vermont. Some of the people that I've worked with over the years, Dave and I actually helped to found the board of Renewable Energy Vermont. There's a great industry here. People are willing to work with it anyway. So, great.
My name's David Blittersdorf. I'll go back to being a kid, my childhood, but I got to tell you straight up here that I'm a working person. I have never had a full-time job in my life that I worked for someone else. When I graduated from UVM in 1981 in mechanical engineering, and my senior year, actually it was 2 senior years because it took me a little while to get out of school for bad grades in math, but I got back in. I had already formed my first company called NRG Systems in an apartment in my senior year. And I grew up in a family where my mom had her own real estate business and business. So I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. And so that really affected me. So I graduated and worked 2/3 time for another company as an engineer designing a residential wind turbine in 81 and 82. And the company eventually, the market disappeared for small wind, and this was the early 80s. But going back slightly, I became passionate about really wind energy. In the beginning, when I wasn't even a teenager, I was 12 years old, and I figured out I wanted to do something. In the 70s, like 69, 70, that nuclear power was going to save us. And even as a kid, I figured out there's something wrong with this, and why aren't we using the wind and the sun and other things? And so one of my that was the goal. And then I wanted to be a mechanic, and then I finally figured out if I'm going to do any change, maybe I should study to become an engineer. So through high school, I finally figured out I really wanted to do something in wind. And I had a sugar house that my dad helped me neighborhood where I grew up down near Rutland, Vermont. I'm a native Vermonter. And on the roof, I took a little, back then, to get a light on a bicycle, you had this bicycle generator that sort of lit up a headlight that hardly even worked. But I took a bicycle generator, made a couple blades, and put it on the roof of the sugar house. Well, it sort of worked. At one time, the wind blew like steak, and it sort of lit up a little. So, have a long ways to go on the engineering side. But jumping forward, I became really passionate. I knew sort of what I wanted to do, degree, and then I started NRG Systems like I said, when I was still at UVM, and then went full-time into it right out of college. So I never really worked for anybody else besides part-time. So basically, I was I had my ideas, I was stern, and I was young and probably a little cocky that I could actually make this work. But of course, as I started this new company, it was in the wind field, and the wind business was just starting in California, roughly in 1981-82. And it's because they had incentives. We had leftover oil prices from the 70s, and there was a need to really do something. The solar business started then, and the wind business started then. And so I was involved in making energy industry. They were putting in wind turbines, but they never measured the wind, and they put in the wind turbines and, oh, this one doesn't work. Well, you have to measure the wind, because that's the energy source.
Sorry. You want to go ahead, or? I'll wait till you introduce yourself.
Just fast forward, I went through and created this company, and then about 7-8 years ago, I made a transition to solar. At first, I was building a small wind turbine that didn't work out, and then switched to solar. And I had a non-compete agreement for 5 years, and I had to do something else. So I said, okay, I gotta move somewhere. I can't do wind. But I did build the wind farm that's north of town here in Milton, Georgia Mountain Community Wind Project, that supplies 10% of Burlington's electricity in the wind measurement and that sort of business. And now I'm in solar. We make the solar trackers that follow the sun, the All Earth Renewables tracker, and you see them all over the state of Vermont. And as David said, part of the history is being engaged over the years of affecting policy at the state level, and David, exactly right. We in Vermont are leading the nation on solar policy right now, on some of our laws, and we're probably going to lead the United States on this, because we're so small and nimble, and we can move the needle. We're talking about a carbon tax now. Hopefully we can do that. We have the advantage of being small, and we can do this. And a lot of smart people, including all you.
Hey everybody, my name's RJ. Sorry I was a little bit late. I'm from Middlebury, and things like traffic flummox me because I'm from the country. I'm not originally from Middlebury. I'm from Connecticut. And if you guys ever and stay here, because it's way cooler up here. So I went to Middlebury College, which is why I live there now. I'm super excited to be up here on the panel with these guys because it makes me seem like I'm their equals a lot for energy in Vermont. And the fact that I have a job is very much due to them and the good work that they've done. So it's kind of an honor to be up here. So my job specifically, we're a Waterbury Center-based renewable energy company. We focus in solar, and we are a market solution to climate change. And I'm not the only one of my friends that works in the renewable industry. One of my best friends from Middlebury actually just started. One of the things that got me into doing this was actually the solar decathlon. So when you mentioned it, I was like, oh my gosh, what a great idea. So that's one of the sort of 4 major things I did during college. I was also a psych major, and I was a theater minor, to be a teacher. And then I taught for a year, and I had a great time. I was teaching at a small school in Wyoming, but I missed Vermont, and I missed working with renewables. So just a plug for the solar decathlon. Do it. It is such an amazing experience to get out there. What it was like to get into the industry as, I'm going to be 26 on Sunday. What's it like to be a young person in this industry in Vermont, and how did I make that jump? So these 2 guys named Doug Goldsmith and Andrew Savage at this company called All Earth Renewables in March of 2013. And I was just kind of going out there doing Intel meetings. You know, I was a year off of graduating Middlebury. I have a number of older siblings that live in Burlington, and they made the connection. They knew Andrew. So, you know, sat down, had a meeting with them. This was after I had done a month-long summer internship in Seattle, working at a small renewable energy company out there. And industry, I went back to Wyoming to finish my job, started another short little summer job, and in the midst of all that, heard about this cool company called SunCommon. So, heard about the company, sent in my resume, and then I went on LinkedIn and when you're applying, read everything on that company's website. And so I went on LinkedIn and I noticed that Doug Goldsmith was like LinkedIn to James Moore, who's one of the people that started SunCommon. And I sent an email to Doug and I said, hey Doug, it would be great if you could, you know, help me make this connection with James at SunCommon, and you know, just tell him that you met me once and you know, you think I'm a great guy, because you do, and you know, I'm really passionate, so then and it was that kind of pushing that essentially got me my first interview at SunCommon for a job that I didn't get. And then eventually SunCommon called me back and offered me to apply for another position. You gotta push, and you gotta, you know, make yourself heard, and the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And you don't want to be too annoying, because then they might not listen to you. But you know, all that is to say is that, you know, networking is super important. This kind of thing is great. I see a few familiar faces at events and stuff like that, and that's, you know, that's really the way to do it. Vermont is a small place, but at the same time, this is a growing industry, like they've said. There are 15,000 people that work in clean tech in Vermont. 1,300 of those are in solar, or are directly in the solar. Lawyers to folks in accounting. My friend Tim, who works at all of Renewables, he's in accounting. I'm in marketing at SunCommon. Community organizing is how we do it, but it's essentially marketing. You know, there's sales, there's, you name it, anything that a robust business and industry, you know. So I would say this isn't only a, you know, talk about how cool the renewable energy industry is, but also how cool the renewable energy industry is in Vermont, because this is an amazing place to live.
Oh, a lot of advice. Thank you. So I mentioned too, I mean, staying in Vermont we work throughout the country. The EIC does consulting now, based on experience in Vermont, based on the experience and the policies and implementation that's going on here. People outside Vermont then want to hear that story. So I work in New Jersey, Maryland, New York, necessarily, then you need to get on a plane occasionally. You can stay here quite a while.
Great. Well, before we open it up to Q&A for all of you guys, I think one question that you kind of touched on at the end is that this market is changing day to day for us on how to catch it at the right moment and how to prepare ourselves the best way possible for that moment when we graduate and start looking for a job, whether it be entrepreneurial or going into a business. Just your thoughts on that. Does that make sense? Do you want to clarify more?
Yeah,
we don't have to start in any specific order.
I would say you can't sit down and plan out your career, but you can look for opportunities to be passionate about that, and you're in an industry that isn't collapsing, which renewables and this type of field isn't collapsing, then opportunities will arise. So, you know, being out there, participating, that type of thing, those are important. Some people identify a niche that they can uniquely fill it, you know, it's hard to say whether, you know, you start as an entrepreneur right out of school and you're working for other people. Some people will be able to start as an entrepreneur right out of school and fill a need that's in the market and go